One night, no warning, and suddenly the most protected airspace in the Middle East was burning. In the early hours of a night that Iran will never forget, something extraordinary happened, something that military analysts said was impossible. A fleet of Israeli jets crossed over 1,000 kilometers of hostile territory, penetrated one of the most sophisticated air defense networks ever built, and struck the very heart of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, all before a single Iranian radar operator could trigger an alarm. No country had ever done this before, not at this scale, not with this precision. And what makes it even more unsettling is that Iran knew an attack was coming. They had activated every air defense system they possessed. They were watching, and somehow Israel still got through. The question is, how? And more importantly, what does this tell us about the future of modern warfare? To understand just how audacious this operation was, you need to understand what Israel was flying into. Iran's air defense network isn't just strong, it's layered, redundant, and built specifically to stop an Israeli strike. Tehran is protected by Russian-supplied S-300 missile batteries, domestic Bavar 373 systems, and hundreds of short and medium-range interceptors positioned in overlapping kill zones. Military experts from NATO itself have described Tehran's defensive envelope as comparable to protecting Moscow. On paper, any aircraft that enters that airspace without authorization is dead within minutes. And yet, the IAF didn't send just a few jets. They sent an estimated 100 aircraft, F-35I Adirs, F-15Is, and electronic warfare jets, operating in coordinated strike packages that compartmentalized every phase of the attack. This wasn't a raid. This was a symphony of destruction, rehearsed for years. Here's the detail that nobody is talking about. The IAF didn't just bomb targets, they blinded Iran first. Electronic warfare aircraft, likely operating at the outer edges of Iranian radar coverage, began suppressing and spoofing Iranian air defense communications up to 30 minutes before the first bomb dropped. Iran's radar screens didn't go blank. That would have triggered alarms. Instead, they showed normal readings, friendly ghosts on a screen while real jets were already inside the kill zone. This technique, known as electronic masking, is something the IAF has refined over decades of covert operations, but never deployed at this scale. By the time Iranian operators realized something was wrong, the first wave had already released its payload. The IRGC command bunkers buried beneath Tehran's northeastern districts took direct hits from what analysts believe were bunker-busting GBU-28 variants, bombs capable of penetrating over 6 meters of reinforced concrete. Now consider what was inside those bunkers. This is where the story gets darker. The IRGC's intelligence headquarters wasn't just a command center. It was the operational brain of Iran's proxy network across the entire region. Hezbollah logistics, Houthi missile coordination, Iraqi militia funding pipelines, all of it was managed from facilities that now no longer exist. Satellite imagery released in the days following the strike showed over a dozen confirmed impact craters across 3 distinct target clusters in Tehran. But here's the twist that shocked even veteran analysts. One of the targeted sites was a facility that Western intelligence didn't have on their public maps. It appeared in no open-source database. Israel hit a building that, officially, didn't exist, which raises a deeply unsettling question. How long had the Mossad been watching from the inside? The ballistic missile component of this strike deserves its own chapter in military history. Iran had invested over $20 billion in its ballistic missile program. Dispersed launchers, mobile tells hidden in tunnels, underground silos reinforced to survive a conventional airstrike. The IAF had studied this network for years. On strike night, Israeli jets targeted not just the launchers themselves, but the command and control nodes that activate them. Without those nodes, Iran's missile force is essentially a loaded gun with no trigger finger. At least 4 mobile launcher sites were destroyed while the missiles were still vertical, meaning Iran had been preparing a retaliatory launch and Israel hit them first. By minutes. That timing was not an accident. Israeli SIGINT units had been monitoring Iranian launch preparation signals for hours, and the strike was sequenced to neutralize the response before the response could happen. So what does this all mean? Step back and look at the larger picture. This operation didn't just destroy buildings. It sent a message written in the language of precision, intelligence, and absolute operational superiority. Iran spent decades building a deterrence architecture designed to make any Israeli attack too costly to attempt. That architecture failed in a single night. But here's the thought that should stay with you long after this video ends. Israel didn't do this to win a war. They did it to prevent one, by demonstrating that no bunker is deep enough, no radar is fast enough, and no secret facility is hidden enough. The most dangerous weapon in this strike wasn't the bomb, it was the knowledge. And now, every military on Earth is watching their own radar screens just a little more nervously, wondering if they're already being watched too.